Good afternoon, Grandview Heights. Jamie Lusher here. Hope that this third week of online instruction is a little bit easier for all of us and that you are finding some bright spots. It's been wonderful to see folks participating in the Spirit Week. Love seeing the faces of the kids. We surely miss them as well as our families. Wanted to follow up because, as promised, we are going to discuss grading practices during this fourth quarter. Last week we had great conversations with our staff, K-12, and sent out communication and talked a little bit about our philosophy and policies. And this week we want to make sure that we're communicating with our family. So embedded in this message you will find content and a resource of information regarding how we will navigate this fourth quarter in terms of grades. So first, I want to thank everybody for their flexibility and their continued support. This has been challenging. We've seen a lot of great opportunity and innovation present itself, but we also know that for our students, this is a very, very difficult time in terms of orienting to online learning and the distance learning feel, if you will. So as we think about the assessment of students and or their grades, we want to make sure that we are honoring the fact that this is an atypical situation and that there are no adverse impacts for our students and their mental, social, emotional, or overall health in addition to their grades. They've worked very hard over these last 3 quarters and grading periods to accumulate a body of work that, for many of them, they're very proud of. They have a strong academic press. We want to see that work honored. But we also recognize that this fourth quarter, we've extracted the most critical features of their courses and we have essential outcomes for them. So we're going to look at grading practices a bit differently. We are going to give students grades. K-6, that will be their evidence-based grades of either an E, an A, a P, or an RS. We're going to look at that evidence based on 3 factors. Have students been exposed to the essential outcomes for their courses? Have they completed the work? And are they mastering the work? And if students try and if students work to complete the tasks that their teachers assigned, we're going to make sure that they either maintain or improve their standing as of the third 9 weeks completion. As we look at 7 through 12, again, it's our goal as a district to maximize and personalize every student's learning. So when we look at those 7 through 12 grades that are attached to an A, B, C, and beyond, we want to make sure that students that exited our doors third 9 weeks are able to maintain their grade or only improve. Our multi-tiered system of supports teams at every building will be working to reach out to families and to students that are not completing their work. Our goal is to priority 1, expose students to the most critical features of their courses so they have what they need to progress their academic curriculum next year. The second feature is we want them to complete and work towards mastery of those assignments. And so our teachers will be giving feedback formatively to our students. So our goal, again, is to minimize any negative impact that this has on our students while also preparing them and making sure that they have what they need as they transition into their next calendar year, academic year, or university or work area of choice. So I think these are all important things to remember. As a parent, what we're asking you to do is focus your cognitive, physical, and spiritual energies on helping your child stay up to date. Check Schoology, check their digital learning plans, check ClassLink for Seesaw if you're in the K-3 building, and making sure that students are exposed to the content, help them along, and then just make sure that they're focusing on that work completion piece, and we'll be just fine. What will be challenging is that some of our the resources that we use, like Progress Book, and some of the ways that grades are reported are not as formative, so they won't update as quickly. So what I would ask you to do is please don't focus on that grade at this time. Those will adjust and they will populate and they will bump up based on work completion and how we're able to navigate that system. But they're not intuitive, so they're not going to respond as quickly as we might like. So what I would ask you to do is please don't focus on that GPA or that percentage. Focus on making sure that students are exposed, that they've completed the reading or the work that's been assigned, and then that you can see that the completion has occurred so that they're staying up to date with their teachers. The last thing is please reach out for support. We're here to help. As we stated earlier, we don't want any of our students to be at a level of frustration. We want them to be exposed to the content. We want them to be engaged as much as possible. We also want to make sure that we don't do any harm through any of this process. So again, our goal is to only continue to improve, but as we think about grading practices, we do want to think about that end in mind for our students and recognize that there's so much more than a grade. So our goal will be to obviously give them grades at the culmination of this fourth quarter, but we want to make sure that those grades are indicative of work completion and mastery and the exposure to content. And again, we don't want to hang our hat on points and percentages and things of that nature. So please take a moment to read through the information. If you have specific questions tied to courses or grade levels, please don't hesitate to reach out to our teachers, our counselors, our principals. We are here to help, and thank you. Take care of yourselves and each other.